Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Johnny Stanton. We have Reginald Perryman, Shaka Williams, and we are TSARE. This is the There's Something About Real Estate podcast where we talk all things real estate.
And then some.
I don't care. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Oh.
You still got your Christmas lights up, don't you?
I do. I ain't put many lights up, but my tree is up and my fireplace.
Yeah, my tree been down.
Yeah, we normally put
it up.
our tree up on Thanksgiving, and we normally take it down before New Year's. But that did not happen this year.
Mm-hmm. No. I don't think a tree should go up until you putting presents under it. You put the tree up and the presents at the same time.
So, but see, when you got young kids, Santa need to come when the kids go to bed.
Yes.
So the presents can't be under the tree.
No.
That's that privilege talk.
Man,
my friend used to tell he didn't tell his daughter because they was out of school over the holidays, and he wouldn't to the 1st of January when he got all her presents, and he'd be like, "Merry Christmas!" on the 1st of the month.
Somebody just posted a video and was like, "Kids don't know when Christmas is until you tell them." So Christmas really can be whenever.
Well, not nowadays. He could do that back in the late '80s. But he can't do that now because of the internet.
No, not little kids. So, like, I could have told August that Christmas was today instead of...
Man, August on that iPad. Yeah. He got Instagram and everything.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So, any good Christmas stories? Y'all get some good gifts? Like, how was the holidays? Everything's good?
Man, I was balling out with them gift cards.
Oh, my God.
I got to show y'all the photo of me with my gift cards up to my ear like a money phone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Gift cards and socks.
That's what I ended up getting my husband this year, a gift card. I'm like, what else can I buy you?
I did get some golf balls from Detroit Lion golf balls.
Oh, you going to use them?
Hell yeah, I'm gonna use them. They winning now. I'm gonna be proud on the course.
I'm talking about you might lose them though.
No, I got good. I can make it through a round and only lose one ball. I used to lose a ball every hole.
I think I was losing like one ball every other hole at least.
Yeah.
So what y'all doing? What y'all doing? Y'all lose the balls.
Get a new one. That's why you buy a whole lot of balls.
Okay. All right. So it's a new year. Are y'all into goal setting, resolution setting, or doing anything to start the year off? You know, the kicker?
No, I'm not, because I'm into, like, if I feel that way, I need to do it the next day or right now. So I don't really normally feel like the New Year's resolution anyway. But, you know, I guess it's a reset. I mean, it's a reset for me because I kind of took the last 2 weeks off. The 2 weeks of the year off because my wife and my kids they had the last 2 weeks off. This their last week. They haven't even been back to school yet. So they living the life. And that throws my whole schedule off. You know what I mean?
You gotta explain to people this is not real time because by the time this air, they gonna be like, your kids lazy as hell.
Yeah. So this is the first week of January.
Today's January 6th.
Mm-hmm. And so normally they would have went back to school this week. They would have went back to school this week. But because New Year's was on a Sunday and observed on a Monday, I guess that's why they...
And Christmas was on they just found a reason not to take people back to school.
No, but you normally get those 2 weeks. So they would have done it a week before or they did it a week late. So they worked or went to school or they would have went to school up until that Friday before Christmas. But then we had that fake snowstorm.
Right.
That was the fakest snow. That was the worst.
Man.
I mean, but it was cold. If people were walking, then I understand.
Let me ask y'all something, because I've been in Michigan for 49 going on 50 years. And I'm just, these past 5 years, these little 2 and 3 inches of snow is being kind of suspect to me, because why everything's shutting down over 2 or 3 inches of snow when that used to just be normal.
Like Shaka said to me, I think like last Friday when it got shut down, it was the wind chill factor. That's all. I've always remembered that being a factor, especially being in the hood. So the wind chill was always a factor. But like you
used to put plastic up to your windows.
My daddy always plastic window the house.
That's what's up.
But yeah, they the snow, like I think we were talking and it was like a bunch of car crashes And I'm like, people act like they don't live in Michigan.
Right.
Like,
That's
why
what
are we
I'm saying.
crashing
Like, why
cars? 'Cause
people
it
don't know
starts
how
snowing.
to. They act like we live in Tennessee or
But
something.
I ain't gonna lie, it was cold as hell. It was so cold, no lie. And even Johnita was scared about her furnace. She got 3 furnaces in her house,
Right.
but her heat wouldn't go up to I don't what
It wouldn't go past, my house didn't get past 65. But in the house, that's cold with no sun.
for sure. But I had my heat on 80. That shit wasn't going over
That's what I had it on.
70. I mean, it wasn't even getting to 70. It was like 67, I think it was
Them
67.
rich people
At
problems. So y'all
80,
got them big old houses.
It was for 2
Them
days.
rich
That was for
people
like 2
problems.
days, for real. That shit was
yeah,
cold.
it was cold.
Yeah.
It didn't get back normal till like Christmas Day. For like, I was texting him like, bruh, I don't know who you guys send over here, but y'all installed my furnaces wrong.
My house stayed at 70.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was
I
cold
got
as
an
hell.
oversized
We was walking
furnace for my
around
size
with
house.
coats on and hats, sniffling.
Hold on. She had a furnace guy come over there tell her furnace was too big for the.
That was before that. He fixed it.
No matter. He said that furnace
That's
was
why
too
it
big.
don't work, because he fixed it. You let
He
somebody
said
else
it was
come.
too big.
Mhm.
Anyways, go ahead. Johnny.
So yeah, anyway. So we was talking about New Year's resolution and go. So tip, I've never in my life been a resolution person. It's just something I don't. I'm like, kind of to Shaka's point. Like, I'm constantly working and growing and just kind of like it's just a continuation from what I've been doing. But I will say this year is a little different because I've had like some clarity, and it's kind of like, no, I have to really start doing this year. So I think this year is different from really like any other year, where I'm like looking at my life and I'm like, nah, I gotta work on this year and make this a big deal, a factor, focus on it, and all that kind of thing.
I set goals. I don't care about the new year. But I do use the year as a benchmark for financial reasons
Mhm.
and because of IRS and all that good stuff. But I do set goals for the year. So my goal this year is to make more money than I did in 2021. Because
Mhm.
2022 was just all right.
Right.
But 2021 was like
Banging.
banging. 2020 and 2021, I'm like, and I went into 2022 like, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill him, and then I just got lazy or golfing 3 times
You
a
was
week,
living.
and I'm like,
you was living a little different. Reggie
yeah,
was
because
going
I
golfing a
made
little
all
different.
that 21 money, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna coast, and I'm like, nah, I'm good, but I like that 2021.
But I
money.
did my TikTok roll. So everybody had a TikTok roll, and then they rolls for the year. You saw beaches, water, boats, food. Like, everybody was living in 2022.
Yeah, I did that too. But
That's
I'm
what
just
he's saying.
saying.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that was a common thing in 2022. People were experiencing life different. Like, I mean, it was so many.
When
like,
taking it for granted that they got cooped up for a whole year.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I just took my foot off the gas when I should have kept it on the gas.
But you're a team leader and everything, and so how do like you're a team leader? You're doing things in terms of like the brokerage. When it comes to like the goal setting or the resolutions, or I mean, that has to be like an intricate part of the business for the people that you're coaching up and stuff too, right?
Yeah, so I got my personal goals and my team goals. Then we got the brokerage goals. But I think everybody slept last year, including myself.
So from a business standpoint, and especially a real estate business, do you think that it's something that we should start thinking about come October, November, that we should be ready to hit some new goals or whatever you want to call it?
We start planning in October every year for the following year.
Right.
Because if you don't start planning until November, December, you already behind.
Yep.
Too late to implement it.
Yeah.
You got to wait.
And I'll be honest, so
Make
that's
the
what
changes.
I'm dealing with right now. I'm like, dang, I should have been working on this at the end of September, the first part of October.
Yeah, because our sales cycle, the time it takes from a buyer transaction to close, whatever you do in November and December, not going to show up to January or February anyway.
Mhm.
So you always need to be, from the sales side, you always need to be working on your goals 2 or 3 months ahead. Just like my fitness goals. I set my goals, and if I start working on them in November, December, if I quit in 2 months, I'm already ahead of everybody else. I quit before everybody else that quit in January and February.
So, okay, to the point, if you're in the business or whatever, come after Halloween, or what you say before October 1st, do we need to stop
Third quarter. I mean, going into the fourth quarter.
and
the
start
beginning of
setting
the
up
fourth
for that
quarter.
new year?
Yeah.
So you can hit the ground running, right?
Yep.
All right. I was getting ready to ask something and I completely forgot, but we can jump into buyer behavior and seller behavior. Like, what are you guys seeing from I would say right before, so after Thanksgiving, and now we're after right after
The new year.
the new year or whatever.
I'm seeing more buyers are picking up after the new year. We're getting more inquiries on listings. Sellers are coming to the market, and they finally realizing that they missed out on a great opportunity. But what I had to tell agents too is that we talk to a lot of sellers, and no matter how good the market is, and we tell them like, oh, you can get this much for your home, they might regret it later if they can't get that amount, but nothing is going to force them to sell if they're not ready for it in their life, right? So you think about a couple that's going to divorce. If you be like, hold off until the market get better, they like, hell no.
Right.
I'm tired of him. You know what I'm saying? So the same on the flip side, this is a good market. If people just not ready emotionally or whatever's going on in their life, they're not going to do it.
Right.
We just got to be there when they're ready.
Right.
So it's a lot more people ready now than it was several months ago or even a year ago. But part of that was because they didn't want to get out and bid and compete. They want to sell their home and have a place to go because the market was too competitive. And while they was holding their home off the market, that mean it was less inventory. So now they're starting to put more homes on the market. That means more inventory. They got more to choose from, but that's making the prices adjust a little bit.
So I feel like, so Reggie's talking about overall, and I'm talking about in a specific time.
Yeah.
Right before the new year.
Right.
Between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Right.
Where everything slowed down traditionally anyway. We used to argue about this, me and Janita, right? About whether or not this is a time where you see a slowdown. And I think that it is. I think that we saw that again this year. We seen like basically stuff was like kind of crickets. We had a real nice flip that came out at a bad time, I think, but it came out when it had to come out. And just this week we're starting to see an uptick of showings for that house and people calling and asking like, do y'all have any offers and all that stupid stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I think that it was just like normal. It was business as usual. I don't think that there was any.
So you don't think it was any slower than normal?
No,
I
feel like it was
slower than normal.
I feel like it was the same. I feel like it's the way that I don't have any data to.
The data says it was slower than normal
to back it up, but I feel like it was. I want to see the data because I can't just go off of just the numbers. I want to look at the numbers to see because obviously it's going to be slower than in the past because housing sales was already slow anyway. Than it was over the last 2 years. So that data right there is not.
But year over year, when they compare 21 to 22 between November and December and 2020, November, December, and 1920, it was slower. Slower this year from a percentage standpoint because of the low inventory. And also it was less buyer inquiries online than it ever was before.
You're saying this year?
Yeah.
In 2022?
The end of 2022.
Okay.
It was less buyer inquiries online than it's ever been. My experience during the November and December months is comparing it to summer and spring. People every day is looking at a house, right? So let's say you got 20 buyers and 2 or 3 people are looking at that house every day. Where in the winter, you might still have those 20 buyers. They're just waiting until the weekend or when it's more convenient weather-wise to go look at that house. So you may still get 20 showings, but it may be spread out over 2 weeks. So the appearance and the feel is that it's slower because you're not getting that daily activity, but you're still getting those 20 showings.
If I still get the 20 showings, I don't think it's slower. But so what I'm
But the
saying
perception is
But that's kind
slower.
of that's what our argument was. It was never so the question, like obviously to me, you know, people relax their focus changes to shopping for the holidays and things like that. But what I used to be trying to explain to you is that for me, I don't really feel like it's like if I had, you know, 6 interviews or whatever or consultations this week, like my week didn't change from July to November.
But that's so there are real numbers to go off of that. Like year after year after year. There's like 40, 50 years of data that shows different, right? But what Reggie is saying and why I'm saying I can't go off of that. I mean, it is. Like if you go look in the months.
It's not data, but I'm saying you got to explain what Reggie was saying, but go ahead.
No, I'm saying there's data. It's data that suggests that what you're saying is not true. But I'm going back to Reggie's data. So Reggie's data, if you go compare, it don't matter what, anytime after, if you go compare October numbers of 2022 compared to them years that you're talking about, they're going to be down as well. So it wasn't just a holiday, is what I'm saying. That was something that was happening.
But are you saying you just
of.
comparing a holiday to every other month of the year? So you comparing November and December to like June?
No, I'm comparing this holiday percentage-wise. So we had a drop already.
Right.
That was not, it was interest rate related. Right. As well as, but it was really interest rate related, pretty much.
But it's still low inventory had a factor because the less houses you have, the less people going to be looking.
For sure.
Right.
But our inventory is still greater than it was at this time last year.
I agree with that.
So you get what I'm saying? So that's not going to be a factor, per se, right? So the factor that was causing us to have low showings or houses stay on the market longer was the interest rates, right? So that was happening in September, October, November, December. So it wasn't the holiday that caused that. So I'm saying if you go look at whatever that decrease was, I'm sure that number is going to be the same amongst those 4 months: September, October, November, December.
Yeah, we need to look.
Yeah,
because I don't. So like for the feel, the energy. I've never felt like it was a ghost town. Like even in October and September, I didn't feel like it was a ghost town, and never in the years prior. But after Thanksgiving, like all of December, it felt like a ghost town.
Shit, it was a ghost. It's been a ghost town. Well, and you know what? And I guess the price point too. Price point matters in this.
Yeah, because we just listed Murray Hill last week. We got 2 offers on it.
Damn, I'm jealous, but I'm happy.
Yeah.
No, you're not buying that house.
Yeah, because remember I was telling you about
you got one around. We had 2 offers. We had showings the week of. So price point matter. But we gotta keep in mind it's always new buyers coming to the market that didn't have the 2%, 3% rates to compare it to, right? But it's just I think
people are over it.
This is the slowest September, October I've seen in years.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, as far as numbers, sales, number of listings. Well, it felt that way. I have to go back and look at the data.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
in agreement. I thought you were saying the opposite. Okay, so we agree.
Yep.
All right.
Before we go into the credit part, which is actually the topic of our show.
Slow roll.
Yeah. What I want to say, what up though to the What Up Though podcast, Mike and Otis.
What up though?
What up though? Yeah,
Mike and Otis.
They funny, man. Y'all gotta listen.
Like,
to them.
follow, subscribe. I'm gonna check them out.
Yeah. Yeah, listen to them.
Go ahead, John.
We was talking earlier and we seen some stuff floating around on the internet. So we all know credit is a big part of real estate, but it's also a big part of life, right? Mm-hmm. And you can go pretty far with some cash. If you got all cash, you can go pretty far with other people's money, right? But credit, if you're trying to live life a certain way, at some point in time, you will need some credit.
Which is also some other people's money that qualifies as that, right?
That's still credit too. It's just not the same.
But
it's not traditional credit.
Right.
It's untraditional.
It's going to be hard credit or soft credit, hard money, traditional money. It can make life real hard with bad credit. And if you stay in that trap, you're going to continue to be struggling. And that's really how you end up staying poor in most cases because everything you buy, the interest rate is sky high. You'll never get the leisure of walking in and signing with zero down or having a lower interest rate. You driving the same car as somebody else and you paying $400 or $500
You're
more a
talking
month.
about not establishing the good credit history.
The good credit history. So there's a lot of people out there scamming and giving you temporary solutions and all of that on how to fix your credit or avoid paying people because you can't talk about wealth and try to get away from paying people back at the same time, because part of your wealth building strategy will eventually be investing your money and possibly loaning money. And in order for you to invest your money, guess where that money is going? Out into the market to loan people money. So if you believe in not paying people back and your money is being put out into the market to loan people money, if they're all learning how to not pay you back, then guess what's going to happen to your money?
You're not going to get it back.
You're saying everybody can't be Donald Trump.
No, but you know what? Here's the thing. No, I want to let's talk about that, right?
Yeah.
So there are loopholes in business structure, tax structure, and all of that, right? Mm-hmm. There's ways to play the game, and there's ways not to play the game. Mm-hmm. But there's people that are giving advice that are not professionals, or they're giving advice that has not been tested, that's tried and true, and you're giving advice to people that can't back it up if it goes wrong. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if my accountant come to me and say, okay, this is what we can do. These are the write-offs. We can structure this way. And I say, well, what if this don't work, for example? What if we get an audit or whatever? And in worst case scenario, you may owe more money or whatever. Just using that as a scenario, right? Mm-hmm. If I don't have that money stashed away, I probably won't take that risk, right? Now, some people will still take that risk the same way with finances or whatever, right? But it's a lot being taught to people that don't have the money, and they're taking these chances. And when it come back to bite them, now they're in a hole even deeper than what they were before. So to give you an example, y'all remember when there was when Obama was in office, and they had that program? I think you can get up to like $8,000 or something if you brought a home.
Okay.
It was like an incentive, and people got to the point where they was just saying they can claim it, I think, on their tax returns, and they'll get like up to $8,000 or something back. People were going back, and they didn't even need to show a HUD settlement statement. They just needed a purchase agreement. Mm-hmm. So I was asking people, because a lot of people on the street was doing it. I said, look, you using this purchase agreement, don't you know the government is going to see that house sold to somebody else? You know what I'm saying? And you trying to get this tax credit, you're going to have to pay that back. And 4 or 5 years later, everybody was like, yeah, they got me. No, they didn't get you. You knew you was about to get got. But guess what? Not only are you paying that amount back, you paying it back with interest and penalty. So if you didn't have the $8,000 to begin with, guess what? So that's what I'm saying. People getting a lot of bad advice that don't apply to their situation, or that they can't cover themselves in case something go wrong.
Mm-hmm. So you saying what I said, everybody can't be Donald Trump. So it's levels to this, levels of understanding. And
that's what I mean, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody can't, everybody here what Donald Trump does with his tax returns or with his credit and through his businesses when he's filing bankruptcy and things like that. And they think that's a strategy that they can use.
Is he filing, see, this is the thing. Is he filing bankruptcy, or is his business filing bankruptcy?
And exactly. So,
right. And how many businesses do he have? You see what I'm saying?
Strategies.
How many attorneys and accountants do he have
levels
to protect the assets? How many trusts is set up? So, go ahead.
You can't do him. You can't be somebody that's brand new in the game. So Donald Trump, at one point in time, I'm sure had to have good personal credit. Probably still does have very good personal credit. Just don't need it no more, right? Because he's Donald Trump, and he has the businesses to support banks lending him money, which new people coming up in the game trying to use his strategy don't have.
Right.
Right. So you got to coming up right now. There is no shortcuts, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? You got to grind your way. If you messed your credit up, you gotta. That's how I learned how to do. I used to do credit repair, so
Right.
I learned that from being in college, messing up my credit. You know what I mean? And then you don't realize how important it is until you need to buy a car, which was my first purchase. You know what I mean? I had to buy a car, and like Reggie said, I got a higher interest rate for that car than I wanted. You know what I mean? So either you gotta pay a whole lot more for your car, or you gotta go down to a lesser car that you can afford with that interest rate, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, credit is very important. I feel like I feel like people have to, but it's not just very important to have credit. It's more important to know how to use your credit once you get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
everybody think like, let me go get these. I have people all the time, man, can you go get me a $50,000 credit card for what? So you can go file bankruptcy for $50,000 because you're gonna go spend the money. You're not gonna use the money to make money. You're gonna go you live off the money or spend the money on something frivolous.
Right.
Pay those 24 or 25% interest rates, and probably in a year be ready to file bankruptcy over that credit card.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, credit is definitely important.
Go ahead.
So we need to reel it in a little bit. Are we talking about the episodes from online?
Yeah, that lady that was talking about
How to
the
get
lady-
away
so-
with bankruptcy,
yeah, so
fraud.
so
like,
was it pocket watching JT, right?
yeah, but that's what I wanted to talk about because one of the things that what's his name? You said Pocket Watcher JT?
Yeah.
No, or it's Response. He
he
responds to
he does his own show, but he also does response videos.
Yeah. So this was a response video, and one of the things that he pointed out, because in the one video where they were basically saying, you can go and do all this fraudulent stuff, get the white people's money, and then invest it. And he was like, okay, now you done took it up another step because now it's called money laundering when you start investing that money. So, and then he said, well, white people go to jail for this, and it's more white people in jail for this than you know. And I think that's what you were kind of pointing to, like.
I haven't
But wait a minute.
Like, no, I mean, I'm just saying, because when Shaka said, well, everybody ain't Donald Trump, it made me think of that guy say, well, no, white people do go to jail for fraud.
Right. But that's the thing. Just because they go to jail for fraud don't mean I want to go to jail for fraud. And just because there's more of them that go to jail for fraud don't mean that, it's okay for me to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, what sense do that make to even say that?
But when he was breaking it down, I was like, I thank you for, actually, I kind of appreciated the video because he was like, do you know the penalties when you do bank fraud? It's this much jail time.
Right.
It's this many millions of dollars in fines and restitution. And then once you increase that and change it to money laundering, it becomes this. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, and see, that's the part people don't teach you. You know what I'm saying? Like I see these internet like gurus talking about like credit stacking with credit cards. So you wait until this date and then you pay it off with this credit card, then you pay it off with that credit card, and then you go apply for this one, and all you need is this. And next thing you know, you got 10 or 15 credit cards, and you keep this revolving door going. And it's like somebody got to pay some of this money back at some point in time. And you keep bouncing the balance from balance. And the average person going to use this and end up maxing out all of those credit cards. So it's like managing your money and managing your credit are both just as important as each other. You know what I'm saying? And people getting this advice, it just don't apply to everybody.
I haven't seen the video y'all talking about, but credit stacking is real.
I know.
And it can be done legally and in a way that where you can, but like I said, it's
intricate?
Yeah,
It's levels.
It's like, it's Donald Trump. Like you can't, like those people that are just learning that, you don't even, because it's not about just continuing to bounce around credit. You're supposed to be, and to be honest, if you got 10 to 15 credit cards in a small amount of time, you don't have real credit cards. You probably got like 2,500, your credit card, your max credit card is probably like $5,000, $10,000. So you're not doing a lot of money with that anyway. What you're doing with a $5,000 or $10,000 credit card, right? Even with 10 of them, shit. You know what I mean? You're still maxed out at maybe 100,000, even though you're not gonna get $10,000 credit cards.
But
and
here's
fast,
the question: what are you investing in with those credit cards? With
There
the
it
money?
is. So
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So, I get it. I'm just some people say I'm just teaching it. What they do with it is up to them. Yeah, that's true. But we're here for the people that's hearing this information and saying, yeah, don't believe them. They need more people, because if you use this information and you don't use it the right way, it's just, you're going to be way worse than you're going to wish you never did it.
And they not teaching you the right way. I would like to see it though, but I know for a fact you could it's just certain stuff. When you hear somebody say 10 or 15 credit cards, that person don't know what the hell they talking about.
Well, this particular episode that he shared, the lady was basically talking about how to file bankruptcy but still keep all your assets. So using your spouse to basically, transfer,
put everything
over in their name, then you're gonna file bankruptcy, and then the JT pocket watcher guy, whatever. I'm sorry,
pocket watcher
JT.
Right.
But he was basically saying that, okay, you can go and do that, but in order to file bankruptcy, you still have to prove that you don't have an ability to pay. And if your husband has the ability to pay, then that's still like poor information. And then if you do get away with it, they can still come back and put that debt back on you if they find out later that you actually had the ability to pay, or you did, you tried to go and hide it or whatever.
Yeah, you tried to hide assets.
So they both on the so that dude pocket watching is on one end, like way left or right, and the other dude way left or right. But there is a medium, right? But like you're saying, you don't. People have to know.
Here's the medium is understanding that some of these tools are to help you. So credit can help. Filing bankruptcy can help. And then you're supposed to use these things responsibly so that you can live.
First of all, who want to file bankruptcy?
Here's the thing. Here's the reality.
But the reason, I'm sorry, the reason why the lady was teaching it, because it was to say you can go and get all this money that's not yours, and then you don't gotta pay it back.
Yeah,
right.
Stupid.
So this was the thing. What she was saying was, you married. You got all these assets, you file for bankruptcy, but you transfer everything over to your spouse. Then several years later, your spouse transfer everything back to you. Then your spouse filed for bankruptcy, right? Mm-hmm. I've been through bankruptcy. It's not pretty, right? Me too. Mine wasn't even that difficult. It was bad advice. I shouldn't have did it, right? Especially for the amount it was for. I'm like, damn, I almost
that's the other thing people don't understand, right? Filing bankruptcy for $50,000 or under, you crazy.
So... but what the advice she was given will probably make sense for some people in certain situations out of necessity, right? But also what JT pointed out was, and this is why I watch A Balance of People, he said in some states, it's all community property anyway. So even though you filed, the state itself still looks at all the assets of you and your spouses. So people are going online, they're teaching this stuff, but they're not teaching all the back end stuff that come along with it. So when we talk about credit, it's a reason when people come to us to buy a house and their credit is jacked up. It's not always because they just didn't.
And then who, like you said, like I don't get one not to. So you said some of your stuff was established based on having the bad credit and then learning how to fix it and getting out of it.
That's how I learned credit.
Mine was more so like, thank goodness I've had good people around me, and so like when I needed a car, one of my first cars, it was like my uncle had the good credit. He did it for me, and I just didn't want to do anything that was going to affect his credit negatively. Right. So I learned good habits based on people doing me favors.
Caring about other people, which people don't do.
Exactly. So if I go out and I take out a loan and I say, okay, I'm going to give you this $10,000 back plus whatever you charge me in interest. I want to pay. I actually want to just go ahead and pay the people back, even if it is the white people's money.
but that's the people.
That's what the people from.
Yeah, but that's what them people telling them. Exactly. Hey, go get her money and don't pay her. Go get hers and 9 other people money and don't pay none of that.
Exactly, and that when I was watching it, that was the thing that was making me cringe. It was like, dang, so I'm just gonna go and get this money, and I'm signing something promising to pay it back. But my whole intention is to not pay it back. Like I just was like, oh my God.
Yeah, the way she said it was like you buying it with the intent to not pay it back. And really, any loan you do, unless it's truly a private money lender, you're borrowing money from the market. That's how you got to look at it. You borrowing money from the market. Most financial institutions, they're holding
all of our
investors' money, right? So why you think the mortgage crisis happened and
That's
the financial breakdown? Because people couldn't pay back. And who was they not paying back? All of us. You know,
the
all
number 1,200 and 300. Yeah.
So if everybody out here scamming, saying I'm gonna get all this stuff and not pay it back, guess what's gonna eventually happen, right?
I mean, let's use the best case scenario for everybody that's given. Let's say they do all that, right? They do everything the person told them, and you go get 10 credit cards, you get $100,000 in credit, right?
Right.
And then you file bankruptcy for $100,000.
And if you got to get 10 credit cards to get $100,000 in credit, your credit probably not that good.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, first of all, they're gonna catch you. First, I mean, so unless they apply for everything at once, they're gonna see you're gonna have inquiries. Those balances are gonna show up.
The guy that was teaching that one, he was teaching you how to apply. It's not gonna be all at once. It's over a period of time.
Then you're not
establishing it.
Then he didn't give him the real So yeah, if you're doing a $10,000 credit card, then you came back did another $10,000 credit card, then by the time you get to 4 or 5, they're gonna see that, and yeah, they're not gonna continue giving you $10,000.
Yeah, and then they telling you to do something.
That's what that guy was saying.
Name.
He was saying that's what he was saying. Like he was saying they're lying to you. Like they're not telling you the truth.
Yeah, they're gonna see that.
And I want to say something else, right? I'm not against any certain institution or financial institution. But can y'all please stop every guru that talk about borrowing money, loaning money, credit? It's got to be other banks or credit unions other than Navy Federal. God, it's like is that just like y'all go to?
Yeah, because it's easy for the dummies.
So bad.
But no, let's give them the best case scenario. Let's say they get the money, the $100,000. All right, what you doing with the $100,000?
Most people gonna. I ain't even gonna say. Let's say they do go invest it.
Okay.
In a house or something. Let's say they bought a house with it. They gonna flip.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So they bought So how do you invest $100,000? So you would have invested $100,000, probably buying about a $40,000-$50,000 house, putting about $40,000-$50,000 into it.
Yeah. Let's say it's worth $135,000. They gonna make $135,000 back.
Okay.
That's about what you would make. $135,000. Between $125,000
why don't you pay the money back?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm getting ready to use, right? All right. But let's say that. Let's use the $135,000, right? I mean, so we're saying they're about. So we're gonna just say $90,000 into the deal,
right?
Right. And then they got $100,000 worth of credit. For you to do this, you probably don't have a job, because it's like a full-time job to be even doing that type of thing that they're talking about. These are the people that don't do nothing at home. That's how you know.
Well, they gotta have a job in most cases to get that much credit.
They lying on the credit. They lying. It's a lie.
The whole thing. We gonna say hypothetically speaking, they can make it work.
Yeah, the whole thing is fake, right? The whole play is fake, right? So they're lying on their credit applications to even get the credit, their credit cards.
That's another one because it was a girl online that was telling people to lie.
Yeah.
So let's say you make. She said, just say you make $50,000. Just tell them you make $125,000.
Yeah. So they all lying, right? And then so a regular working person, you can probably already throw you out, right? I'm just a normal person, right? Let's say that you are a working person that's got a little bit more hustle to you, and you can pull this off. Which is not a lot of people. But all right, so now you took that 100,000 or 90 of that 100,000 and you put it into that deal, but you paying per month. You probably paying about $2,500 a month on that money, probably more. About $2,500 a month on that deal. That deal gonna take you if you're new in this, that 3 or 4 months. So your 100,000 is completely gone. Right, in them 3 or 4 months. Now you got to start. Let's say your deal don't sell or your flip don't get done in that amount of time.
You got to file bankruptcy.
Yeah, for real, right? Now you got to file bankruptcy.
Your spouse name.
But we saying the best case scenario. I'm sorry, best case scenario. Everything got done in 90 days. They was down the last $2,500 sweating bricks.
Right.
And they flip went through, and now they made that $35,000.
Right.
So you ain't gonna go back and do that. You ain't gonna pay that off, and then come back and do that play again. So you can make the $35,000 more and 90 more.
That's
days.
how you supposed to.
You know what I'm saying?
So
you
why
just
not
gonna
just
quit?
get a hard money lender?
Yeah.
But either
100%.
way, like if you are smart enough to go get the money, just pay it back. Stay out of jail.
It ain't even about staying out of jail. It's about
Don't.
just being smart with how you gonna
It's not
progress
about
in
staying out of
life.
jail.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Right.
if you once you do that,
Now,
10
this shit that
years.
these people was telling them they was going to jail.
Because the only money you
Right.
don't got necessarily go to jail, but you
now.
only getting 100,000 for every 10 years. That's 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't do it no more for 10 years. You fuck after that. You know what I'm saying? You're not
Right.
getting credit cards with a bankruptcy or no nice size credit cards with a bankruptcy on your credit report. Right.
Okay, Shaka got to watch these videos because these people
So
going to jail.
here's the thing though.
They ain't gotta go to
It's
jail.
no shortcuts. There are loopholes.
Yes.
And there's easier ways to do it, but either you're using credit or you're using cash. And the better your credit is, the easier the money is. The better the deal is, the easier it is to get credit. And all these people trying to sell you get out of debt quick schemes and all that stuff. The quickest way to get out of debt is to pay the people.
Right.
Grind it out.
But I think that
You gotta
that's the
grind it
point.
out.
I think a lot of the people that was given the information, I think that's what they were trying to convey is that they're loopholes. Because the one guy,
No, they was straight up
No,
selling
no.
a scam.
I don't know, you probably didn't watch the video I sent, but the
I seen it.
on the EYL episode with the one guy that they have part of their crew. But I think that was because he kept on saying, well, this is all legal.
Legal.
But the way he's when you're watching it and when he's saying what you can do, it's kind of like, no, all of that sounds very illegal. And I just think that maybe, so this is one of the things that I learned.
I'm gonna tell you the one that sound fishy to me was when he was talking about get the car loan,
The car
and
group.
turn it to a personal loan.
That's
Look.
I know about that too, and that's what people use Navy Fed for a lot. But go ahead.
So I forgot what I was going, but so that was one of the things that they were talking about at the training class yesterday. She was just basically like, scripting is for like everything, right? So you want to even maybe think about how we're going to deliver, even on this forum, how are we going to deliver this information? Maybe instead of coming on here all the time and not doing any talk about it, maybe we should script a little bit more. We don't do that. But when I was looking at it, I felt like that was the part that was missed. They're probably really just trying to give you game and show you loopholes. But because they didn't go over it or talk about it, they so excited. They with their homies, they feel comfortable, and they just saying it's reckless. That's how
No,
it's
they
coming
trying to
off.
sell a course. A lot of people trying to sell a course, and I'm not knocking anybody, but we deal with the people on a day-to-day that come to us to buy a home, or there's somebody that we know and they went and brought a course and they tried this stuff, and we knew they couldn't handle some of the advice, or they misunderstood it, or they didn't learn it the correct way. And we like, no, it don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? And people are giving them the game, but they not giving them detailed
All of it.
instructions, right? And they not giving them the repercussions of doing it wrong. So it's like, it's teaching people, but it's not really coaching them and consulting them through the process.
Right.
So
But
it's-
that's real too, though. So yes.
I
yeah, I
tried,
know it's
y'all.
real.
The
No, I know it's real.
no,
You talking about with the car
The
loan?
car loan is real, but like Reggie said, the consequences of that, especially if you don't pay it back. So in that situation,
it's all
you
good
can't
till you
just
don't pay it
But
back.
what
then
I
you don't pay
heard,
it
what I
back.
heard on
But
that
this
was,
what I'm saying.
that he
If
did-
you got to go through that to get 10,000, 15,000, it's a likely chance you're not even able to pay it back because you had other ways to
But
get
they
that
telling
type
them
of
not to
money.
pay it back, right?
well, that,
Well, not that
not that
particular
particular
person.
one,
Okay.
but I feel like that's the part that was missed. So when
But
the
here's
JT
the thing though. Let me put this all together. If we bring somebody on the show and tell you how to get money this way, but then another episode we bring somebody on the show to tell you how to avoid paying people back. You see what I'm saying?
Well, they two different
It's the-
mindsets, right?
But you got the same viewer watching this. So you're saying go out and get all this debt, get this, pile it up, but then I'm gonna show you how to file bankruptcy and get it out, but still keep the asset.
But you ain't making no money.
But that's
So,
what I'm saying. I
right.
think that guy that was doing the review of the episode was missing because the one guy kept on saying, if you get the loan within this amount of time, it turns into a personal loan. and then with this amount of time, it has to be paid back.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
the average so I heard it. I heard without him saying it. I heard him saying, "Man, go get the money for this amount of time. Make sure you pay it back in this amount of time. But while
Right.
you got that cash in your hand, go flip it." So I heard, like I promise, like maybe I was reaching,
Here go
or
the
maybe
issue.
it's
Most
me
people
being
can't flip it.
experienced.
They don't have the
Man,
they don't have the
I'm gonna
capability
put my
to flip it.
mixtape out and I'm gonna flip that boy.
Maybe it's me being experienced and just understanding it, which is the
Yeah.
danger that the guy that was reviewing it was talking about, because it came off as just go get the personal loan, tell them whatever you got to tell them to get it, or go get the car loan, do whatever you got to do to get it. Because the guy was basically, he broke it all the way down. He was like, how you going to cash the check? They ain't going to cut it to you.
Yeah, they will.
So now you going to, he said for the car company, he said that he called Navy Federal specifically,
I don't care what he
asked
said.
them
I seen it.
how this works, and they're not going to cut the check to you. They're going to cut the check to the company that's supposed to be selling you the car. So now, how are you going to go and cash that check? Oh, you're going to go to the street. The
some
hood store?
some lenders will give you the money.
Well, he was talking about
Right.
specifically that.
But Navy
car
Federal
loan
will
thing.
cut you the check, so
Okay.
he can kill that. But
So
the
it's-
point is, you still lied. Now you still are lying. So if you pay the money back, you know what? You may be good. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
if you don't pay that money, you can't use that strategy with the strategy of filing bankruptcy because you're gonna lose.
But I also think that's how we got into economic turmoil, was doing all the stuff, doing these things to get this money, but then nobody was paying it back.
No, that's not how we got into
That's
economic turmoil.
definitely one of the things that happened.
So listen, y'all, listen. I'm gonna say this about that.
This is what I'm saying. Our people, we can't afford to take penitentiary chances because we
Facts.
get treated worse.
And
So
yeah.
when somebody go online and say, well, white people been doing this all the time, or they do this all the time, and more of them in jail for this, if more of them in jail for it, I don't want to join them. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
And there has to be a balance. I'm not saying the guy that reviewed it is all 100 neither. Sometimes it seems like he hating. But on the flip side, what I'm saying is there has to be a balance and there has to be understanding. Don't just blindly take this advice, because the reality of it is, in most cases, not all, if you can qualify for $15,000, $20,000, you probably can qualify for $15,000, $20,000 elsewhere with less risk, where you don't have to lie to kick it.
But they lying in the whole thing though.
But
so they can't qualify
You don't
for
have
15,
to.
20.
You don't have to buy a course for somebody to tell you to go lie to do an application. You can just cut the course and just go.
Them people
do what
trying
you
to
gonna
learn
do,
it the quick way.
right?
But
The other thing is, you have to have the financial wherewithal and the hustle to know before you even do that, what are you going to do with the money? You got to plan the money out before you get it.
which is the
right.
problem, right?
And that's the problem.
Because the mindset ain't to. Because if you had the mindset that you was actually about to go make some more money off of that, you
Right.
probably would figure out a different way to come up on the money.
And if you had a
Right.
way to make money like that, this is what I'm saying. It's either you got good credit to get the money, or you got a good business plan or deal that's gonna make some money. If you got a good business plan or deal, there's people out there that will loan you money that you don't have to lie
Cheaper.
to this place to get a car loan that you're not getting a car loan on, so you can go make the money over here. Especially if we only talking 10 or 15,000.
Facts.
If you got a deal, there's people out there with 10 or 15,000 that's gonna bring you money,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But I want to
So-
say something because I heard both of y'all say this.
Right.
All right, because you got to understand, there's still levels to this even. So,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, what's going on in the hood and them little small amounts of money, we're not the reason why this was
Oh no, that ain't.
financial.
That
That's
ain't
one of them.
No, I
No,
said
but
the
it's
mortgage
very-
It wasn't just
crisis.
us. It wasn't just us.
Because
No.
they are doing it on
Yeah.
even when you seen the PPP loans, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? People are like, oh, you gonna go to? I mean, I didn't do
Jail
we didn't
for
do
10 or
PPP loans on
15,000,
purpose,
right.
Yeah.
But those people weren't. That's nothing. When you see the
Compared
fucking
to-
Lakers
yeah, they was
getting
doing
millions of
millions,
dollars.
yeah.
Those are the people that caused the financial.
Some of it, you got
that's the
different, like you said, it's A, B,
percentages.
C, D of things that happen. And I was talking
I'm talking
about
about
very specifically, one of the things that happened in our market we were doing middle. People were doing. You got 700 credit. I got a 700. I'm gonna buy it first. You gonna pull the equity out. Your end goal was I'm gonna take care of the house. I'm gonna keep it as cash flow. But the more you didn't want the house no more. Like that happened.
The percentage of it was
my
the
whole
percentage of
point
that, and the
is-
cause of it is lower than the percentage of
That's fine.
Donald Trump and them doing the same shit.
Exactly, but Donald Trump and them was doing the same shit, and so was Ray Ray and Pookie and them, and some of our people and your people, and all of it was a contributing factor. And so when we're talking about going and taking this money and not putting it back, I think that's the overall conversation.
This is what I'm saying. Rich, poor, black, white, whatever,
Exactly.
right? If somebody come on here and tell me the rich people or white people do it all the time and they get away with it, part of the reason they get away with it because they got the money to back them to keep them out of jail, right? You coming in, you struggling, you trying to do the same thing, and you don't know all the loopholes, you don't know the legal ramifications, you don't know the whole circle. You just heard a part of what somebody told you, and you go and do all of this, now it come back on you. Okay, 20% of them get caught, you getting caught, you're gonna be in, I don't want to be with the 20%. I don't even want to be in there. Why is that?
Go to jail.
Why is that even part of the conversation?
And I
is
don't
what
want
I'm
to have
saying.
to pay somebody $1 million.
If you telling me what you teaching me, a percentage of people go to jail for it, and they do it all the time, why is that even part of the conversation? Is what I'm saying.
Small
When you
mindset.
know that the poor people and African American people get treated worse in the system, why would I even entertain that? So teach me the right way. It's just gonna take some time. It's gonna take some hustle. Maybe I gotta reset my life and start back over and grind it out. But all these shortcuts we learning online, and people come to us and be like, I gotta do all that to buy a house.
Yep.
Yeah.
They be thinking like,
Or
they
they-
for real be thinking
Yeah,
this
they
is
be
back
like-
in the day when you could just throw a
or it'd be like,
authorized user in a fake
I got
job.
15,000. Well, why you ain't put it in the bank? You know, I don't really trust the banks and stuff. You don't trust the banks with 15,000, but you want them to give you 200,000.
But look,
That don't make sense,
They say
right?
they don't trust the bank because they got child support or they got a
Garnishment.
garnishment. Yeah, so then you pull their credit and you realize why they don't trust the bank.
Right. Why
All
don't they-
right, guys. So we were supposed to talk about credit and the different. So we'll come back and discuss some more of but we don't have time anymore on this episode. So I want to make a mention. Our guy over here, Mr. Reginald Perriman, has the Funky Fresh in the Flesh podcast. How you say spell it? How you find you?
I kind of didn't want them people to know that side
Oh,
of me. No, I'm just playing.
He out here.
He on B-Boy Red, Funky Fresh in the Flesh. The is spelled with THA. Me and DJ Butter, we interviewing. Well, we started off this season interviewing a lot of the hip hop artists from Detroit from the 80s and 90s. So like these are the people that influenced some of your favorite artists.
Man,
Right.
I was like, they just interviewed my guy Mud. You know, y'all got the same name.
Yeah, yeah. That's why he all right with me. So we got some good interviews, but we also got some people outside of the city too that we're interviewing as well. So if you into hip hop, check us out. Funky Fresh in the Flesh. It's on all platforms. Like, share, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. But I'm still here. It's Real Estate Reg. Reggie is Real Estate. All that.
Right.
I just mixed the two.
Yeah, I mean, we need people to like, follow, and subscribe to this There's Something About Real Estate podcast. Yeah, we need that.
Exactly.
Come
I
here.
had it.
We need people to come here and get the real about how to go make money.
You know what? Because we not selling all the fluff and all
Yeah,
that.
just the real on how you come and actually really.
We don't got
can
no
get
course
to the
yet, but
money.
we gonna put one together. I need to make some money off them courses, y'all.
We don't need another
All right.
course.
And it's not
They just
hard.
need to
though.
listen.
The other thing people think
Yeah.
it's hard.
No, I'm
so,
gonna make
but
some money
doing
off
it the
them
right way
courses
is not hard.
because I got good information to
not.
sell
You
y'all.
know what I'm saying? That's what people.
You know how
giving away
many
for
people
free.
got rich just listening to Bigger Pockets and watching our show? People will call me or email me and be like, man, y'all said this, and then they ask me more details, and they just be like, I ain't know that. See, to us, what we do and what we say is kind of common and second nature,
Yeah.
right? But so if y'all come into my office, I got the saying up there that say amateurs practice until they get it right, professionals practice till they can't get it wrong. So we kind of can't get it wrong at this point, right? Because we practice it, we studied it, we fail over and practice. So like a lot of this stuff is second nature, but it's a lot of amateurs out there just
Made
trying
me
to
feel
get
so
it right.
warm inside.
A whole lot.
Yeah. All right, y'all, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Monday.